Steve had nothing to do with any political organization, religious organization, no white supremacists, nothing.
The room is quiet. He's standing barefoot on the carpet, 32 stories above the Las Vegas Boulevard. The hot desert air has just filled the entire room. He's just shattered the window with a hammer. Glass is scattered everywhere, and he's barefoot. He takes a breath. Outside, the lights shimmering. The vibration from 22,000 excited fans is coming from below. He sees them waving their phones like stars. His expression is flat, as small beads of sweat are coming down his face. He's the only person on the planet that knows what's gonna happen next. Inside his Mandalay Bay suite, it smells faintly of cleaning agents and gun oil. The air is getting hot, so he sets the thermostat to 65 to try to cool it down. He checks the hallway monitor, no movement. He slowly walks past 2 rifles mounted on tripods, past stacked boxes of ammunition, to a tablet playing a live feed of the concert below. Jason Aldean is about to start. He glances at the cameras he's mounted outside the suite. One faces the hallway, another watches the door. It's time. He leans down and opens a hard black rifle case. Inside, a meticulously customized AR-15 with a bump stock. He doesn't rush, he doesn't speak. He lifts it, loads, click. And at 10:05 p.m., he pulls the trigger, and then chaos ensues. A country music festival turns into the deadliest mass shooting in modern American history. But what if the real story isn't about what happened? What if it's about who made it happen? Because when you look into the life of Stephen Craig Paddock, it doesn't add up. And authorities to this day claim it was a lone gunman. No clear motive, no terrorist ties. Case closed, right? So we thought. But when you dig into the timeline, the surveillance footage, the forensic reports, the witness statements, and Paddock's life, an entirely different picture starts to form. One that doesn't support the official story, I would say. So quickly, there are many theories that challenge the official story. Witnesses reported multiple shooters across several hotels that night. Videos appear to show helicopters hovering during the attack around the country music festival. Some audio analysis experts say the rapid gunfire sounded like it came from a belt-fed machine gun, not a bump stock, which they ended up outlawing after this. Paddock's laptop hard drive was mysteriously missing from the scene. His autopsy revealed a minor heart condition, but there was never any clear mental illness. While each theory deserves exploration and its own video, the biggest question today is we're going to try to answer is, why does Stephen Paddock, the man himself, not fit the mass killer profile? This wasn't someone known for violence, mental instability, or extremism. He didn't even have a traffic ticket, yet somehow he allegedly carried out the most devastating shooting in modern US history. The alleged claims begin that Stephen Paddock checked into room 32-135 3 days earlier, September 28th. He used the service elevator. No one searched his bags. In total, he brought 23 rifles, thousands of rounds of ammunition, scopes, tripods, surveillance gear, and hard drives, like we mentioned, that disappeared. He installed cameras inside and outside the room. One was hidden in a food cart left outside the door. He watched the hallway from his laptop. He studied the festival schedule, apparently. He knew exactly where to shoot, and this sounds like a trained mercenary, or at least a highly trained individual prepared to unleash the worst mass shooting in history based on what I'm telling you. But the background doesn't make any sense, and here's why. Stephen Paddock was 64 years old when this happened. A retiree, a multimillionaire, a property investor. He owned homes in Texas, Nevada, and California. He had a small fleet of cars, 2 planes apparently, and he paid his taxes on time and left generous tips for casino hosts and waitstaff. We have many reports of these people not believing the testimony that he did this.
He cared about everybody's finances. He cared about everybody's cars. He actually cared about people.
He had a pilot's license, hunting license. He gambled big and often, but not like someone with a problem. People loved him. More like someone running an experiment. a system. At the Mandalay Bay, the MGM Grand, and the Atlantis in Reno, Paddock was known by name, not famous, but familiar to the people there. Casino hosts said he was polite, but distant, rarely smiling, rarely drinking. He didn't party, he didn't socialize. He ordered a steak, a drink, and spent 12 hours at the same video poker terminal, pressing the same buttons, logging every hand. He treated gambling like math, like this was some focus for him. He brought notebooks, pens, and sometimes spreadsheets he printed from home. He wasn't playing, he was analyzing. According to casino insiders, he often played for comps, which means free rooms, meals, and flights. His losses and wins pretty much balance, but his loyalty to casinos earned him penthouse suites and VIP treatment, like the one in Mandalay Bay that fateful night. He wasn't addicted apparently, he was methodical. Sometimes he won tens of thousands, sometimes he lost more, but he never seemed shaken, never frustrated. It wasn't about money, it was about control. At home, he lived quietly with his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, an Australian citizen of Filipino descent. She told investigators that Paddock could be controlling, but never violent. He preferred routines, room temperature at 68 degrees, blinds closed, same breakfast every morning. He was meticulous with money, records, and schedules. He mailed out checks early. He never missed payments. Friends and neighbors in Mesquite described him as distant but polite. He waved but rarely spoke. He didn't attend community events or church. He never discussed politics. He didn't own social media accounts. When asked about his hobbies, he'd shrug and say, numbers. Even his emails were cryptic, sent between multiple accounts he created for himself, often referencing purchases and calculations in vague code. Again, he had no criminal record, no DOIs, no restraining orders, not even a parking ticket. Not once did he ever draw the attention of local police. A former casino staff remembers him as punctual, sharp, and emotionless. I guess that's what most gamblers are like, or people that indulge in this. One hostess described him as a man who could sit through a 14-hour session without blinking. My man was focused. Another said he was the calmest high roller I have ever met, like he was practicing patience.
He was absolutely a high-level video poker player in terms of the amount that he spent, the amount that he wagered. His skill level appears to be fairly high. Video poker is a game where you can do better than the guy next to you if you understand strategy.
He lived a lifestyle built on precision. Every decision, every habit, every purchase seemed extremely measured by this guy. But behind that quiet discipline, something darker might have been brewing. No manifesto, no warning, no threats, just silence. Here's where things get strange about Stephen. His father, Benjamin Hoskins Paddock, was one of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives, a bank robber who escaped from prison in the 60s and lived under aliases for nearly a decade. Stephen was 7 when his dad vanished. He never spoke about it, but trauma like that doesn't disappear. It calcifies. His brother Bruce would later be arrested on federal child pornography charges. But let's hold on here, because Bruce Paddock would be arrested on those charges within a month of this shooting. And after he had told media outlets that his brother was, quote, Stephen wasn't mentally deranged, and noted that Stephen had never been in trouble with the law like he had.
So I called my mom, and my mom answered the phone, and I said, is that Steve? And she said, I guess so. And I asked her, was he sick like me?
You look at Bruce's background and its checkered past like his father, but a criminal-minded person like Bruce even struggled to believe that Stephen would do something like this. It did make sense to him. Another brother, Eric, gave a series of bizarre and emotional interviews. In my previous video, I touch on this, but it's worth noting again because Eric had said it was like an asteroid fell from the sky.
It's like an asteroid just fell out of the sky.
He claimed Stephen had no interest in guns. He helped him move weeks before the massacre, said there were no rifles. Then he said something chilling. Eric said, I hope they find a tumor in his head, because if not, we're all in trouble. Eric even says he had just moved him into his new home and that he was doing great and was the wealthy brother who would wine and dine his family and invite him out. Not this mass shooter that committed these atrocities. So what the FBI has released is that over the course of 12 months, Paddock bought over 50 firearms. He stockpiled ammunition and modified several rifles with bump stocks to simulate automatic fire. He made over 200 transactions related to weapons and tactical gear. He booked multiple hotel rooms overlooking other large gatherings in Chicago and Boston. Some believe he was rehearsing. Others says he was calculating. And yet not a single friend, neighbor, relative, or casino employee suspected a thing except his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley. In interviews after the shooting, she delivers such a compelling statement that seems like he was the shooter. They were calling her the key to this investigation. Mary Lou goes into detail saying they were distant, not intimate, following the months up to the shooting. And then they go on to say that they found his doctor who said he was odd and maybe had a bipolar disorder. But Paddock refused medications and accepted anxiety medication.
He said Paddock seemed fearful of medications and would often refuse to take them. He says Paddock refused antidepressants but accepted a prescription for anxiety.
According to Mary Lou, they stayed a month earlier in the Mandalay Bay Hotel and that his behavior was strange and he was looking over the windows, looking at the location where the soon-to-be music festival will be taking place in a month.
Danley said that odd behavior continued about a month before the attack when the couple stayed at the Mandalay Bay in September. Danley said Paddock was acting strangely, constantly looking out the windows overlooking the Las Vegas Village venue, moving from window to window, looking at it from different angles.
You even have relatives to Mary Lou who went on camera with blurred faces claiming that Stephen sent her away without any plans or excuses. Then you have Sheriff Joseph Lombardo, who of Nevada is actually now the governor. And he makes it clear that Mary Lou was not in the country, confirming the story. But now we have an ex-DARPA JSOC hacker who has come forward recently on the Julian Dory podcast to explain why he was called at 10 p.m. that night of the shooting by the FBI. So Stephen Paddock traveled frequently. He took cruises to the Middle East, to Asia, the Caribbean. He visited the Philippines several times with Mary Lou Danley. Days before the shooting, he wired $100,000 to her. She was already in Manila when the shots rang out. Investigators like Mike Yeagley found that some of Paddock's devices connected to foreign networks. So this is where Yeagley, the ex-DARPA JSOC hacker, explains why the FBI called him the night of the shooting at 10 p.m.
And Stephen Paddock goes and shoots up a Jason Aldean concert in Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was the first guy he called, but it was within hours. You know, you get that like call at 10 o'clock at night.
They wanted you working on the Las Vegas shooter in 2017.
Yep.
Did you?
Yep.
Okay. That's a very, very highly controversial, debated shooting.
I was trying to establish transnational links because he was married to a Filipino woman and he had traveled to the Philippines.
Paddock.
Yep. Was there connection to was there a terrorism connection?
As soon as he discovered that Stephen Paddock had device pinging coming from an Alabama Redstone arsenal, is where EODs get trained. So according to him, his superior in the investigation let him know his role was done and that there was no foreign intervention based off the pinging. But the story doesn't end there. This is where more holes are revealed that even Mike cannot make sense of. Because was there some Filipino involvement? He shuts it down. But others to this day claim that there is a possible connection to be made of possible foreign influence. We just don't know what. So on May 3rd, 2018, after months of legal battles, the Nevada Supreme Court ordered the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department to begin releasing all records related to the Route 91 shooting. This included 911 calls, dispatch logs, crime scene photos, and most importantly, body camera footage from officers who breached Paddock's suite. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department had resisted for months. They argued it would interfere with an ongoing investigation, but journalists and victims' families pushed back, and guess what? They won. The first body cam footage was released, and it was tense, chaotic, and dramatic. It showed police breaching Paddock's suite, rifles up, shouting commands, moving through the room. But it was angled so poorly, we couldn't really get a visual since the camera was pointed at this guy's chin the entire time, adding to further suspicion. But one thing was missing, the lead officer's body camera. He didn't turn it on. And so the most critical moment, the moment police entered and saw Paddock, is missing from view because an officer who was leading it forgot it. Why does that matter? Because over time, the police gave 3 contradictory accounts. The police engaged the suspect in a firefight. The officer saw Paddock shoot himself as they entered. Paddock was already dead when they arrived. All 3 different accounts. This footage resolved none of that since we couldn't even see him or what was going on. And there's more. The police took over 77 minutes after the last shots were fired before they breached the suite. No one has clearly explained why. Was it caution, miscommunication, or something else? Inside, we've been told Paddock was found dead. That is the official story. And the official story goes that he reportedly shot himself, not the 2 other theories. But the rifle was across his leg, the blood spatter was minimal. Forensics showed inconsistencies. The angle, the pooling, the glove on the floor, some say it looked staged. And then there's the conflicting reports from that night. Multiple calls of active shooters at other casinos. Bellagio, Tropicana, New York. Police scanner traffic confirms it.
It sounds like it's confirmed there are at least 2 shooters with fully automatic weapons.
But no official reports were ever released explaining what was found at those scenes. There's even reported shots seen on police body cam footage after Stephen Paddock was supposedly compromised. There's footage of the floor he was on and when the shooting took place showing no gunfire coming from that window. And there are hundreds of witnesses claiming they saw helicopters flying around, and there are videos of helicopters flying around opening fire. You could see the muzzle flashes. Calling it a lone wolf attack with no known motive seems to be far from the truth of what many of these witnesses saw. Now, under the court order, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department had to release all body cam footage, 911 calls, dash cam videos, surveillance footage, search warrants and affidavits, interview scripts, but here's the twist. Sheriff Joe Lombardo, now the governor, who led the police response, eventually closed the case. He declared it a lone wolf attack with no known motive. When he ran for governor in Nevada and he won, and under his leadership, the case remains officially closed. No further comment, no reopened investigation. Theories have flourished ever since. Was Paddock a fall guy? Was there a second shooter? Why all the redactions and the delays? Where was the main camera that wasn't there? But today the official position is simple. The case is closed, the motive is unknown, and the answers still locked away. And we know that the gunfire lasted 10 minutes, then nothing. SWAT didn't breach his room until 11:20 p.m., 77 minutes later. They said they were assessing the threat, and maybe that's a fair comment. But radio traffic shows confusion. Officers on the ground couldn't tell if the shooter was still active.
You see those flashes? Is it up? Is it up? Can you see where it's coming from?
And then there's the wild footage of them entering the Mandalay Bay suite that you have to watch for yourself and decide if this looks suspicious or not. All of the body cam footage shows lots of incongruencies from what the real case has been stated. The FBI have said that he was deteriorating, mental decline, possible depression, chronic pain, but he passed multiple medical exams. His bank accounts were full, his home was clean, his records were spotless and pretty much boring. He didn't leave a note, no message. One ATF agent told reporters off the record, it was the most meticulously planned mass shooting they have ever seen. And we have no clue why. So there's the redacted pages, missing footage, casino executives never interviewed, witnesses ignored, and witnesses who died after, many of them who claimed to have seen the helicopters. The final FBI report ruled out ideology, ruled out accomplices, but inside the redactions, financial ties, international travel, suspicious wire transfer, Mike Yeagley says either Paddock was incredibly good at hiding his motives or we stopped looking. And when you connect the metadata, the silence, and the execution style setup, you're left with one possibility. He most likely wasn't working alone. Stephen Paddock is gone, so are 60 innocent people, and yet we know nothing. No manifesto, no motive, no confession. The official story ends with a single man, 1,000 rounds in silence, and the worst mass shooting in US history. But the digital trail says otherwise. Throughout the investigation, multiple theories have been proposed to explain what really happened. And I've mentioned a few, but I'll go through them all briefly, and we will probably be doing a video on a few of these, and specifically, I want to go into the witnesses and what happened to them. So, there was multiple shooters apparently at multiple casinos, the Bellagio, Tropicana, New York. Many of these incidents were never officially explained. There's the helicopter shooter theory. Radar tracking data and video showed unidentified helicopters in the area during the attack. Some believe and confirm that there were muzzle flashes seen in the air to indicate gunfire from above. Then there's the second shooter in the hotel theory. Reports surface of broken windows on other floors. A few videos captured flashes that didn't align with the 32nd floor. Some body cam footage recorded shots even after Paddock was allegedly dead, contradicting the official timeline. The whole idea that possibly Stephen Paddock was a patsy, his background doesn't match the profile, as I've mentioned, of a mass shooter. No history of violence, mental illness, or motive, just some of his family, but he has a spotless record. Was he framed, coerced, or used? Then there's also this crazy one, the Saudi involvement theory. Saudi royals were reportedly in the Four Seasons floor of the Mandalay Bay at the time. Some suspect the shooting was a cover for a failed assassination or extraction by Mohammed bin Salman. One that you can't really call a conspiracy that actually ended up happening is the false flag operation. Some believe it was orchestrated to push gun legislation or hide other political scandals. Still controversial, but the timing and the immediate political responses raised suspicions. The bump stock is now outlawed, when before it wasn't. So that theory has some backing. Each of these theories highlights something the official narrative doesn't explain. The contradictions, the missing footage, the changed timelines, and the silence. Despite this, the authorities insist Paddock acted alone with no help and no motive. But the more you learn, the harder that is to believe. One thing is certain, he didn't just disappear. He left behind something worse than terror. He left behind a mystery that is still unsolved to today. My name is Alessi, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.